is Lirika and I'm currently a student at USB Tongan campus. My Matai presentation will be focusing in topic number 2, the significance of kava cup in our Tongan cultural heritage and the way forward to preserve it for a future generation by making a kava cup. Nowadays, I have noticed some people at the kava no longer use the kava cup. Instead, they use plastic cup, plastic bowl, plastic jug. But my Matai presentation will be a way forward to preserve and transfer this knowledge for our future generation. In the meantime, I will be interviewing some people to have a say about my topic. First question, the significance of kava cup in our Tongan cultural heritage. Last, what is the way forward to preserve our cultural heritage for a future generation? At the very end of my video, I will be going to a kava with my new wibu kava.
The kava cup. The cup is what we call a kava. Is actually the most important part of the whole process because that's what you use to serve the kava for the kava drinkers. That has been in our culture for decades and for a long time. And it serves the purpose of using it as a cup to actually drink the kava. It's really important. There's also a cultural significance to it because in the olden days we didn't have a proper cup, and that is what was used in our Tongan culture to actually drink the kava. These particular artifact or the cup is really important just to keep the kava drinking ceremony or function proper in our own Tongan tradition. So nowadays with the kava drinking ceremonies and functions, the informal kava drinking ceremony or functions in Tonga now, they're now using plastic cups, even glasses, or even ceramic cups. That's what is used nowadays. And I think it's important that if people try, and the only other issue with people going into plastic cups and also glasses and ceramic cups is only because nobody cares to actually make the proper kava cup from the coconut shell. So I think it's important, provided that you have somebody who's willing to make these cups, the proper kava cup from coconut shells. I think kava drinkers will go back into the proper coconut shell cups. So it is really important in our culture. I don't think it would be proper in our Tongan culture to actually see, especially in a formal kava ceremony, for the kava to be served on glasses or plastic cups or ceramic cups. So I think it's really important. The kava cup is an important part of our Tongan kava ceremony. So if like the school curriculum can introduce or be part of the curriculum, especially the Tongan subjects, for schools and for students to be taught how to make the kava cup. I think if that can be done, not only that the kids will know how to make the proper kava cup, but it will actually supply the market for the kava cup, for the kava drinkers to use the kava cup. I think that's part one of the question. Part two is, what is the way forward to preserve our cultural heritage for our future generation. I think the way forward here is to put it through the school syllabus and the school curriculum. If that is going to be introduced into the primary school level and the secondary school level, that's the way forward to actually preserve these very important ornaments for the kava cup. Nowadays, kids that are going to school do not know how to make the kava cup, except that if they put it through the normal school curriculum and syllabus. I think that's the way forward in terms of preserving this particular important part of kava ceremony, kava and also maybe more awareness out to the people on how important to use the traditional kava cup instead of using the plastic cup. And I think if more awareness of how how the plastic cup can contribute to damaging our environment. I think if more awareness on that, then probably kava drinkers will use less cup or even go back into the traditional kava cup from coconut shell. So the way forward is put it into the curriculum. Secondly, put up awareness program to the kava drinkers that more plastic cups they use, the worse it is to the environment and how it can affect the environment by using the plastic cup.
The significance of kava cup in our Tonga culture related to kava Tonga, drinking kava, it has a lot of significance, but I would like for me to touch, to mention two points here. Firstly, its significance related, it's directly related to our how we live in Tonga, unity. Well, I just explained earlier on the importance of kava Tonga to our culture. It's sort of bringing together the family. And the cup signify the unity. What I mean about this, in our ancient time, how the Tongan people, they create something. Because in ancient time there was no proper cup before. But see, they look at the coconut, and that's how they create the cup. It's from the coconut. Coconut, as you know, it's also related to our culture, cultural activities. So it's very important. So firstly, it signifies the unity. So well, I know nowadays kava Tonga. Well, I've seen it. Although I'm not really into kava Tonga, but I've seen some people they use other form of a cup. So it's when I look at it, it's kind of strange. It's also hurt our culture in terms of because this is not what we get used to. So kava cup is very important because it signifies unity. Not only that, it also has one significance. Is that's the symbol of our Tongan Tongan hospitality. As you know, it's one of our unique way of good hospitality. We welcome somebody coming from overseas, and even locally, we invite a family or so. It's a symbol of Tongan hospitality. What I mean about symbol of Tongan, we have, if we don't have a kava cup, it look like we don't really accept the activities. So with the kava cup, it also signifies the symbol of Tongan hospitality. The second question, what's the way forward to preserve our cultural heritage for our future generation. Only mention two. Firstly, the one very important aspect is to enforce, should be the curriculum of all the school here in Tongan. And the second one, the government should also, I know there is a mission here in Tongan, but it's not really a good one. So in order for us to preserve our cultural heritage, especially those the kava cup and even the kava bowl, the kava tonga, we have to put something displayed in the mission. Because the mission, the visitors come from overseas, even the local people, whenever they come there, somebody will try to explain what is the important, the significance of this like kava cup or bowl. So with that, I think that one will also help, will also not only preserve the heritage of our future generation, but it will remind us how we know from generation to generation. Thank you very much.
Question one, the significance of kava cup in Tongan cultural heritage. I think the Tongans were proud of the traditional way of doing things, but nowadays civilization comes in and it started to change the way we do things. So drinking kava without the traditional kava bowl and kava cup was reluctant in the 90s and before. But because of civilization and the effect of COVID-19 and plastic cup to replace the coconut shell, which is the traditional kava cup. Fortunately, nowadays the churches, obligation, the funeral, the wedding, they still keep a traditional way of kava. We're being proud of what our ancestors do, which they are the founders of the country. So drinking of kava with our traditional kava cup remind us of who we are and our traditional and culture that we are proud of. For the question 2, the way forward to preserve cultural heritage for a future generation, I think including the traditional history and cover materials in the primary and secondary schools syllabus would be an advantage of preserving our culture. And also, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, which they are responsible for keeping our culture and our tradition here in Tongan, let them provide the traditional kava bowls and coconut shells, kava cups, and distribute them to the kava clubs and also the churches in order for them to easily promote and encourage people to still be proud of our traditional way of doing things.
tonga, peke po mai, disco mai, peke vela, matema a tonga, peke po mai, disco mai,
Hello,
peke
Diri.
vela,
My name is Shimon.